Hi and welcome back. Okay, let's continue our revision on algebra. So how would you simplify this? You've got 3 on 4 plus m on 8. So remember, when you add fractions, the denominator needs to be the same. And here we've got 4 and 8. So this one's quite easy because we can make 4 8 by just multiplying by 2. And whatever you do to the bottom of the fraction, you must do to the top of the fraction for it to hold true. So my first fraction becomes 3 times 2, which is 6, and the denominator becomes 8. Your second fraction stays the same. And now, because the denominator is the same, you could just say it's over 8 and literally add the numerators. So it's just 6 plus m on 8. Tick, tick, tick. Very good. Okay, what about this? So we've got 2 on 3, take 5 on 2x. 2 on 3, take 5 on 2x. So again, we want our denominator to be the same, but we could do a little hack. We could just cross multiply. So we could multiply these two first. So let's do that. So let me just highlight what I'm doing. I'm doing that multiplied by that. So let's just write out my working. So 2 times 2x, and then it would be take, and then it's going to be that multiplied by that, which is 15. And on the denominator, it's going to be those two multiplied by each other. So 3 times 2x, which is 6x. Okay, we can simplify the top as 2 times 2x, which is 4x. So it's just 4x. Take 15 on 6x. And that's as far as we could go with that. Nice. Okay, let's get even harder. So now we've got a plus 4 on 8 plus 1, take 3a on 12. So let's write that out. A plus 4 on 8 plus 1, take 3a on 12. Okay, so we could either do cross multiplication or make both denominators. I guess the lowest common multiple is 24. Which one would you prefer? It's probably easier, just because these are big numbers, it's probably easier rather than cross multiplying to make both the denominator 24. So let's do that. So to make 8 24, what do you need to multiply it by? 3. And whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top to make the equation hold true. To make 12 24, what do we need to multiply that by? 3 again, actually, because you got 12, no, 2, not 3 again. Don't know my 12 times table. And whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So we're going to multiply the top by 2 as well. Okay, so my first fraction becomes 3 multiplied by a plus 4. And we'll just write that out in brackets over 8 times 3, which is 24, plus 2 multiplied by 1, take 3a, on 12 times 2, which is 24. Nice. Now we could just multiply those out. And because the denominator is the same, we could just combine them. So 3 times 8 is 3a, 3 times 4 is 12. And then we're also just going to multiply those two out. So plus 2 times 1, which is 2, and 2 multiplied by negative 3a is negative 6a. Okay, let's collect like terms. So we've got 12 plus 2, they're like terms. 12 plus 2 is 14. And then we've got 3a take 6a, which is negative 3a. So we've got 14, take 3a on 24 for that one. So hopefully it's making sense. So you could have cross multiplied, and eventually when you simplified, it would have given you the same answer. So you could choose whichever method you like. You can mix and match when it's whichever is easier. And you could do both to check your answers as well. How fun is maths? But you could do that. Okay, let's try this one. 5 on m take 1, take 2 on m take 3. So this one, the cross multiplication is best. So let's write this out and then we will tackle this together. So remember the steps. You're going to do that multiplied by that first, and we're going to write everything in brackets. So 5 outside brackets, m take 3, subtract, and then it's the other two sides. So subtract that multiplied by that. 2 multiplied by m take 1, and then on the denominator, it's both of these multiplied by each other. So m take 1, m take 3. Now let's expand the numerator. So 5 times m and 5 times 3. So that's 5m take 15 and expand that. 2 times m, which is negative 2 times m, which is negative 2m. And then be careful of your negatives here. Neg 2 times neg 1, which is positive 2. In the denominator, you don't need to expand your brackets because you would have a quadratic and it's actually neater and more simplified to keep it in factorized form. So that we can leave as m take 1, m take 3. Okay, let's collect like terms. So you got 5m take 2m, which is 3m. And then you've got negative 15 plus 2, which is negative 13, okay, because we're going less negative. We've got neg 15 and we're adding 2 to that. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me just write that a bit better. And then the denominator, keep it as your factorized form. So m take 1, m take 3 in brackets. Nice. Okay. So let's see if we could solve the following. Let me just zoom in. So we've got 2x plus 8 equals to 18. Let's write that out. 2x plus 8 equals to 18. So we want to isolate the x. Step 1 is to move this 8 across over here. Positive on the left, so when you move it to the right, it becomes the opposite, so negative. So 2x is left over here. And we would have 18 take 8. 18 take 8 is 10. So 2x equals to 10. Then we're trying to get rid of this 2. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. That leaves me with just x on this side. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Nice. That one was nice and easy. Okay, what about this? 2 brackets, 3k take 4 equals to negative 17. So 2 brackets, 3k take 4 equals to negative 17. What we want to do first is expand our bracket. So we're going to do that times that, and then that times that. So 2 times 3k is 6k. And 2 times 4 is 8, or 2 times neg 4 is neg 8. And that equals to negative 17. Okay, let's isolate the k in this case. So we're going to bring this negative 18 to this side, this negative 8 to the right-hand side. So left-hand side is 6k, right-hand side is negative 17 plus 8. So don't forget that negative on that 17. And we can work that out. So negative 17 plus 8 is just neg 9. So you could say 6k is neg 9. And now we want k by itself. So you're just going to divide both sides by 6. So k is neg 9 on 6, which can be simplified because 3 goes into both of them, which is neg 3 on 2. So your answer should be negative 3 on 2. Nice. Okay, let's try this one. So we've got m plus 5 on 5 equals to 7. So let's write that out. M plus 5 all over 5 equals to 7. So again, these are quite easy. We're just rearranging to isolate the m. So we're getting rid of this 5 first. It is a divide on the left, so when you bring it to the right, it becomes the opposite. Opposite of divide is multiplied. So we're just left with n plus 5 on the left. So this part is what we're left with. And my right hand side becomes 7 multiplied by 5. And we can work that out. 7 multiplied by 5 is 35. And then we want to get rid of this positive 5, so that m is by itself. And so when you move positive, it becomes negative. So you get 35 take 5, which is nice and easy, 30. In this case, m is 30. Beautiful. And we've got one more, our last tricky one. So we've got 2a take 3 on 3 equals to 4a plus 2 on 4. Not tricky at all. We'll be able to, I'm going to show you how to do this, how you smash this out. So let's write it out. 2a on 3 all over 3 equals to 4a plus 2 on 4. So what we want to do is basically just cross multiply. We're bringing that 4 across there and that 3 across here. What we're actually doing is multiplying both sides by 4, and that gets rid of that. And then we're multiplying both sides by 3, which gets rid of that. But I like to think of it as cross multiplying. It is the same thing. We are literally doing the same thing. So we're bringing that 4 over here and this 3 over here. We're just cross multiplying. So my left hand side, I'm going to use brackets. You write 4 outside the bracket, and then in the bracket, you're left with 2a take 3. Your right hand side, put your 3 outside your brackets, and then in your brackets, 4a plus 2. And this is basically where the fun begins, because you just multiply what's outside the bracket, which is 8a minus 12, and multiply that, which gives me 12a plus 6. So this is what we call something that has pronumerals on both sides. Basically, there's letters on both sides and numbers on both sides. We want to put all the letters to one side, all the pronumerals to one side, and all the numbers to one side. It doesn't matter which side you do it to. So some people like to bring pronumerals all to the left and numbers to the right. Let's do that. We'll get slightly negative values in this, but that's fine. So we're going to move this 12a to this side, and it is a positive on this side. So when you move it across, it just becomes negative. So my left hand side is 8a take 12, and now we move that 12a across, so it's going to be take 12a. And we're left with that 6 on that right hand side. And then that number, that constant, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to move that to this side. That way, all the letters are on one side and numbers are on the other. So 8a take 12a on this side, 6 plus 12 on that side. So notice the sign always changes when you move it across the equal sign. Okay, now we could work this out. So 8a take away 12a is negative 4a. Be really careful of the negatives. People often forget the negatives, and this is where you lose marks or get the answer wrong. So just watch out for that negative. And it makes sense. 8 take away 12 would be negative, right? And then 6 plus 12 is 18. And then all we want to do is get rid of this neg 4. So it's been multiplied by neg 4 over here. So we're going to divide both sides by neg 4. Okay, so it's not been added or subtracted, it's been multiplied. And so to get rid of it, or to bring it across the equal sign, you do the opposite. So divide by neg 4. So that gets rid of that. So you're left with a on this side. 18 divided by neg 4. So we usually just put the negative on top. So you can write negative 18 on 4. They're both even numbers, so you could just half them. So that would mean you would get negative 9 on 2. So yeah, just watch out for that negative. But otherwise, that should have hopefully been good and straightforward. Nice, that's all the questions I have for you today. If you enjoy that, if you felt like you've learned something, let me know. In the next video, we'll do some more algebra questions so you have fun and you become an expert at this. Thank you for watching. See you next time.